From the get-go, and joining us now to talk more about this is the Executive Director for USA Strong, Aaron Elmore. Also with us, the President of the Convention of States of Action, Mark Meckler. Mark, Aaron, great to see you both.
You as well.
All right, so it's somewhat of an interesting lineup. I was personally enjoying all of the hand-wringing and gnashing of teeth by liberals on Twitter today, upset about the fact that John Kasich got a speaking slot, the former Republican governor of Ohio. He'll be speaking there, and a lot of people thought they should have had someone more progressive, an actual liberal up there. But Aaron, out of all the speakers on the roster, who caught your attention the most?
Well, first of all, what a cast of characters, right? I think it's no surprise that AOC made the list. We know that Joe Biden, who hasn't really developed much of an identity, is leaning further and further and further to the left. And with AOC, we know she's got that popular appeal amongst the progressives and the young people, and she is a woman. And I think that that's what they're looking for. Bernie, of course, he's going to be there. He's also that progressive, popular character. And the Kasich situation, we know he's a never-Trumper. He's just mad because he couldn't bring home the White House for the Republicans. And so he's just sort of flipped the script and going straight Democrat. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I think all of this is for naught. I think the ratings are going to be absolutely abysmal. No one's going to watch this clown show. And we're really going to gear up for the RNC, which will be far more interesting.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, Aaron, too, because the Trump campaign has that inside track with a digital audience. They have a huge following on Facebook. I am going to be very curious to see what kind of star power we can actually have at these events, the production, how it's going to go down. Mark, you can see some of the names here on the screen. Andrew Yang down there on the bottom. This is from a Politico article. Elizabeth Warren here. But I know you're not looking forward, kind of, so to speak, to seeing these speeches, Mark, but we do have to watch them because there are lots of signals laid in there. You think about President Obama's speech at the 2004 Democratic Convention that really kind of set up the groundwork for him to run 4 years later. But out of these folks scheduled to speak, who do you think is going to have the most impactful speech?
Well, I think AOC is going to be the most impactful because she represents the wing of the party that has the most energy. And so I think she's the person to really be watching. She's driving policy on the ground in the Democratic Party, certainly will be driving policy in the Biden administration. I think the most interesting really is Michelle Obama, the most popular figure on the American left right now, more popular than her former president husband. So I think those are the two really to watch, AOC and Michelle Obama.
Yeah, I think that's a great point because out of anybody who is like kind of above criticism out of that group, nobody, she gets the whole first lady veil over her. Nobody really likes to criticize the current first lady or a former first lady. So that'll be interesting to see where she goes and how much she digs in on President Trump, how heavy they want to go in talking about him, because he's going to be obviously probably the most prominent person there at the convention, even though he's not going to be there because he'll be in all the speeches. Let's talk a little bit about the VP, the Veep stakes, as it's called. And, we're hearing now that Susan Rice and her husband made a large donation to Joe Biden's campaign. The report suggests that once that donation was made, her stock rose as his potential VP running mate. I hate to sound cynical or skeptical here, Aaron, but isn't that how politics works?
Unfortunately for the Democrats, it certainly seems that way. But Susan Rice would be an odd choice. She's never held elected office. As Tom Cotton says, she's the typhoid Mary of Obama foreign policy. And her foreign policy failures, the list is so long, whether it's Rwandan genocide, whether it's her treatment of China appeasement, up to the 2016 election, appeasing Russia, involved in Benghazi. Really, she has done nothing but harm the American people with one decision making after the next. Moreover, the average American kitchen table issue voter has no idea who she is, and there's that popular appeal that's completely missing. So she would be quite an odd choice, but maybe the fact that she is relatively unknown to the average American voter will bode well for her. It's a confusing pick for sure.
And one of the things we noticed, too, is that Susan Rice is not on the list of convention speakers. Either that's because she's going to be the VP and they have a special slot, they don't want to announce it, or she's not. Mark, what do you think?
I think she is the most likely pick, and I would disagree with Elise on this a little bit. I think it's a very intelligent pick for Biden. I think she has the foreign policy chops. I think people on the left don't consider the things she did to be a failure, and they're really pitching to the left here. It's important to remember they're not pitching to the middle of America. They're not pitching to the right. They're pitching to the left. Susan Rice has pretty good name recognition. She comes across as a moderate, though she's as radically left as anybody. She understands the ins and outs of Washington, D.C. as well as anybody. And Joe Biden trusts her, and that's a really big deal because some of these other potentials, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, there's certainly no love lost between them and Vice President Biden. So I think it's Susan Rice.
And we also have some reporting that Susan Rice is President Obama's preferred pick to be VP. That's going to be a big factor in all this as well. And Mark, to your point, Sean Spicer, when we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, he said the fact that Susan Rice does not have a voting record is a huge benefit for her. That used to not be the case maybe 10 years ago or 12 years ago, but nowadays, when every single vote that a member of Congress has taken is parsed and litigated again, that actually could work in Susan Rice's advantage. What do you think about that, Aaron?
Me or him?
Yeah, Aaron, does to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a little hard to hear. So I think you make very cogent points there. And I was going to say that she is a deep state darling. Obama definitely wants her. She wields power with the Clintons. And everyone knows that the Clintons can't seem to leave Washington. Or maybe Hillary doesn't even realize that she's not president. So I think that she's the likely choice. And there's always that dark horse of Michelle Obama. I think that could still potentially be on the table and would also be actually quite intimidating because she is quite popular with the average American voter.
She is the most popular person, hand down, in the Democratic Party. I just don't know if Michelle Obama would want that job. A little too close to her time in Washington, D.C. We'll see what comes. Aaron, great to see you. Mark, thanks so much. And that is going to do it for this first hour.
Go to conventionstates.com, press the button, sign the petition. More importantly, get 10 of your friends to do the same. When you sign the petition, then that sends a letter to your state legislator. You go on the list in their district as a supporter. We deliver those lists to the state legislators. It means something to them.